This is Frontline.
Oh, look, Patty, look there.
Uh-huh. Is it
We
one
have a
or
count.
2 people?
Look like one.
I can't tell from here. It
Oh.
might be 2.
Let's go closer.
Okay.
Somebody on this?
I don't know. There's somebody there. Is that a person or just clothing?
No, it's clothing.
Here.
Wow, look at that in there.
What?
For some reason, I have eagle eyes.
Way over. We're
You see
talking.
it? Okay.
Or is that the other guy?
No, this is Jerry.
That's the other guy who's
Okay, this is...
very, very, very paranoid.
God, how are we going to approach him again? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to stop a little in the front, and then we get out and try to put the sandwich a few feet before he gets there to see if he pick it up.
Okay, well, we got to do it before he gets over here.
We get in there. Okay.
He looks bad.
He's looking worse and worse.
I know, he looks terrible.
It is so difficult to find him. He's going this direction?
Yeah, he's going this direction.
Okay, I want him to see us through the front.
Yeah, but we want to make it clear to him.
Okay, he's on my side.
All right. You want to do it from the van?
Jerry, want a sandwich? How about if I put it here? Okay? Maybe he come back and take it. When a client that I approach in the park doesn't allow me to approach them for years, I understand. I don't take it personal. You tell me if I encounter you in a park and I get out of the van and I go to you and offer you a sandwich, you tell me if you're going to take the sandwich from me. And you are normal, supposedly. You don't have any problems in your brain that doesn't make you perceive reality different than when a schizophrenic perceives it. Then you tell me how a schizophrenic who is paranoid is going to react when I offer a sandwich. They may think it's poison. They may think I'm coming to kill them. You never know what can go through the mind of these people. Oh, Jerry's coming back. Jerry's coming back for the sandwich.
All right, guy.
God.
Maybe he's going to sit.
Yeah.
There are at least 150,000 severely mentally ill men and women living in the parks and on the streets of this country. Project Reach Out is a private New York agency that tries to draw some of them in for shelter and treatment.
Keep a distance, okay? Want a sandwich? See you later.
Last year, Patty Moon and Margarita Lopez, one of 3 Reach Out teams, made contact with more than 2,500.
Okay. He took the sandwich.
You're some damn good instinct.
God.
How did you know to approach him again?
I don't know. He was too settled there, too so quiet.
He's going to eat it even. Either that or he'll throw it.
First sandwich.
I know. I can't believe this.
Margarita Lopez calls New York Central Park the largest open psychiatric ward in the world. 30% of the nation's homeless suffer severe mental illness, and the most psychotic try to isolate themselves in places like this. The primary diagnosis is schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia is a major problem for us to understand, and it's been a tough nut to...
But to see the disease at its most severe is to see it untreated. We first met David when he had just come in from the cold to Project Reach Out. Although he agreed to talk to our producer, DeWitt Sage, he was also deeply suspicious. David is a paranoid schizophrenic.
My stomach kind of gives me trouble when I don't have enough sleep. The stomach and the legs are the two things that tend to most prominently go when I don't sleep.
Reach Out's Mike Mastrogiovanni is David's caseworker.
Oops.
Happens often.
Yeah. What happened to the lens there?
They fell off my face one day, and they're glass, and they were cold, and it was cold, so they were probably a little extra brittle and mango.
Because this happened since the last time I saw you, right? Which was just...
Which was a couple days ago, yeah. It fell and hit the sidewalk, and it's glass lens, so...
Have you confirmed your prescription? Is it the right prescription? You were going to check that out?
I haven't... I can't answer that at the moment, but... The reason that I'm setting up so that I can confirm the prescription is having had lenses stolen, so on tape, having had glasses disappear and then reappear when I squawked. So I definitely must, so that I can be safe crossing streets, make sure that I get the correct prescription.
Right.
And that means all the way from the stage of getting the prescription to actually having the glasses made. And one other thing I'd really appreciate, in the light of what else is on the tape, this is going to make sense, I really appreciate if there's no transmitter embedded in the frame. Okay?
I would hope that that's not the case.
Like the one that's, like the one that's probably here. Anyway, now back, folks. This will get lost on a cutting room floor for sure. I am probably or possibly under surveillance by the Drug Enforcement Administration, private investigative officials, and various units of the NYPD. The FBI once told me that they weren't interested in me, which was kind of refreshing. Who knows?
David, let me ask. The FBI, all of this intense surveillance, could this be part of an illness that you have?
Nice try. When you say, well, maybe it's just something I'm thinking of and product of my situation. When it happens 120, 150 times, I mean, let's take an example. Someone might be reading a book and leave it on a telephone booth as he's making a call. Someone might do that, and sometimes that book might be a really attractive book or an expensive book, or somebody else might have liked that book, and that book might not be there when you turn back, say, 30 seconds later. Okay? When that happens 30 or 40 times, when sometimes those books are obviously of no conceivable cash value to anybody, when sometimes the books contain your identification documents and your money, which nobody but someone maintaining close surveillance on you could have discovered. See, when determining whether something is real or something is not real, it's real simple. Get the facts.
Schizophrenia has to be viewed as the cancer of mental illnesses. It is certainly the most profound illness treated by psychiatrists. Part of the desperation that people felt in treating this profound...
I've gone through insulin shock. There were the cold wraps. You can remove a camisole. You can remove a restraint. This is a mechanical device. Lobotomy was not mechanical. Lobotomies are permanent.
Justin, can we talk for a minute?
Sure.
You want to sit up? Or do you want to lie down?
Lie down.
Really?
Yeah. Feel comfortable now.
I remember on lobotomies, they'd bring the patient in. Doctor would be here, complete head shaved. They would take gentian violet.
Given over the years.
Ambulatory insulin, insulin coma, electric shock, neurosurgery, and finally drug therapy.
And finally?
Drug therapy.
And when you say neurosurgery, what do you mean?
Brain surgery. I had a prefrontal lobotomy. 152 at New York State Psychiatric Institute and Hospital, 722 West 168th Street, New York 22, New York. Phone number Lorraine 84000.
And as slowly as you can, and as clearly, what happened that day?
The operation? We got a stretcher. I thought I was being moved to a lighted room with 4 surgeons there. But the Aronson, the Sapperin, at the Pierce, and at the Ransonville. Then they started the operation. I finished out.
In 1949, when Stanley Gross was lobotomized at Pilgrim State, the treatment was seen as a cure for the most extreme schizophrenia. Although the operation did subdue violence, it soon became clear that the underlying illness was not affected at all. Stanley, we had been warned, never discussed his operation.
Father him killed? No, he died, I told you about the town by the bomb dropping and boom, he blew with a great big hole about 4 feet right in the ground. So it was a baby bomb. It was a major bomb.
Stanley, which planet should have come down to attack the Earth?
The planet of headbreakers.
The planet of head breakers?
Yeah, 1 million miles up. So you know it takes about 2.5 days before they can land. Traveling 1 million miles an hour.
Planet of head breakers, and Stanley's supposed to be the head of that planet.
What? The Lord.
How many heads has Stanley broken?
What do you think? You remember?
Anything else you want to tell me?
The whole story. You see him break any heads around here?
Did I see them break any heads around here?
Did Stanley ever break any heads in Pilgrim?
In Pilgrim State, did Stanley ever break any heads? No.
Okay, so...
But let me ask you a funny question. Did Pilgrim State ever break any heads?
I don't know. I know this isn't a joke, but we're 2 holes in it. And I'll tell you something. I read on a bulletin that was put up that if a doctor did that anymore, he got fined $15,000 and to spend 10 years in jail. It's against the law to do it now. What do you think? A doctor wants to go to prison for 10 years and pay $15,000?
By the time lobotomies were stopped at Pilgrim State in the mid-1950s, over 30,000 had been performed throughout the United States. At that time, this now abandoned building was filled beyond capacity, a monument to the ineffectiveness of any known treatment for schizophrenia. The desperate search for cause and treatment continued. It further polarized psychiatrists already divided between those who embraced the principles of modern medicine and the promise of antipsychotic drugs, and those who held to the more dominant tradition of American psychiatry. A psychiatrist who tries to treat schizophrenia with a combination of supportive talking therapy and medications. He believes both are necessary.
Yes, so I need to say at the first of this, don't mind me, call it my paranoia or my carefulness. Anyway, that anything which has been taped prior to this on this date, what was yesterday's date so I know today's, Tuesday, October 24th, was taped when, to my knowledge, the camera was not running. Therefore, I have not consented to its taping. Okay, that being said, the camera's now running and this stuff's all good. Okay, anyway, don't mind me. I was a political science major. Anyway, you know.
So it's been a couple of weeks since we met. Can you bring me up to date on how you've been since then?
I've been, my weekends have been fine, my weeknights have been hellish.
And the weekends you have a place to stay, and during the week you don't, right?
That's correct. And I, during the week, I lately have been inhabiting subway stations and parks.
Does that get you depressed or to have to?
Sure it does. Sure it does. And I wonder, you know, I still sort of think, wow, I'm depressed. Maybe I need an antidepressant, but who wouldn't be?
Let me ask you this: how have you been sleeping?
Last night I slept great. If I had any decent place to stay, where as a rule a pair of glasses once went poof there, but as a rule my possessions in my body aren't being searched, and I have something resembling a security perimeter between me and the other guy. I mean, I trust my friend implicitly.
Then
you know,
can sleep.
Then I sleep
Looks
much
like
better.
These glasses have almost gone poof.
These aren't mine. These aren't even my prescription, and they're glass glasses. So, and you'll notice that I have yet to have a complete pair of glasses in months. Anyway, and that the
Are there people here or recently that you worked with that you do trust?
Nobody implicitly. I trust absolutely nobody implicitly that I have met within the last 2 years. Since I came under surveillance, at least nobody. I can't. You know, it's like unless I have. I mean, I take everything else on a situation-by-situation basis on, you know, if when it comes to the level of trust. But when it comes to nobody that I've met since I undertook that surveillance, could I ever trust implicitly? There might be.
Let me just tell you what my thoughts are at this point in terms of, as you said, I think, you know, you are at this point on an ongoing basis getting treatment with your peer counseling and coming here, and that's good, so that if things started to emerge, hopefully that could be contained, you know. My own feeling, though, just so you know it, is that I think probably low doses of medicine would help you in terms of minimizing the chance that under stress that you'd feel too aggressive or that you'd hear voices. And also I think it might help you organize your thinking a little. You and I last time said, and I think we agree on that medicine would only make sense if it offered you something and that outweighed any side effects. And that's why I'm not pushing it, but I want you to know it's available.
Let's say one other thing. You mentioned something. I mentioned it too, sort of.
In the treatment of schizophrenia today, it is very clear that the absolute mainstay of treatment is the use of medications that reduce psychotic symptoms. But medications are not the whole story. And just like when a patient leaves a hospital with a heart attack and they go out to an environment that's extremely stressful, they're not going to do well. The patient with schizophrenia goes to an environment that's extremely stressful, where there may be a great deal of difficult relationships and anxiety and hostility in their environment. They're not going to do well.
Hello? Hello, sir? Would you like a sandwich? You would like a poncho? And a sandwich? Look, this is an invitation. If you would like to come to our Thanksgiving dinner, you will be welcome to come. Then
it was clear in schizophrenia that if the brain were involved, it was a subtle problem because you didn't see it just by casually looking at the brain. So what we've needed to do is be able to say, well, what would this person's brain have looked like if they maybe never had schizophrenia? And in our view, the best solution to this is to look at twins, where you have one twin that has the illness and one twin that does not have the illness. Now, if you look at the brains of these twins and you find a consistent anatomical difference that goes along with that illness, you can pretty much conclude that this deviation is related to this illness. With twins, we've been able to say that these subtle anatomical deviations appear to be characteristic of almost every patient with the illness. Because when we compare them to what their brain should have looked like, genetically, environmentally, etc., physically, if they didn't have the illness, it looks as though there's a consistent change that we see that is associated with the ill twin, but not associated with the well twin. Most of these areas involve what's called the limbic system.
when I think, who is that client there? A client that I know for 3 years. In 3 years, today was the first day that he accepted a sandwich from me. and took it directly from my hand, you know. That's enormous progress.
Where's DeWitt? Where's DeWitt? DeWitt, you keep up with me, or it's over. I hope, maybe you've got all the videotape you need today. You keep up with me and continue to talk. This is not a photo op, Dave's habits. You got guys with long lenses and parabolic mics for that, okay? No comment. Now, keep up with me. You want to talk with me. Otherwise, I really mean it. It's over this morning. Not to mention forever.
Where are we headed right now? Where are we and where are we going?
I am attempting to secure newspapers. My income doesn't permit me to buy them. Talking to us.
By now, David was convinced that Frontline was part of the government's surveillance network which was sabotaging his life. But he had come to trust producer DeWitt Sage, and so he made one last exception. He would allow the crew to follow him on his morning rounds at Penn Station. Given the severity of his paranoia, it was an especially brave decision.
Today's Wednesday, right?
And how are things going with Reach Out, David?
No comment.
But tell me more about the quid pro quo, because this is important than...
The program is saying in a de facto manner that I have to be on medication to get housed. I repeat, there's no real justification for that. That's all I'll say about it right now.
So you repeat what, David?
I repeat, there's no. I am not going to answer any more details than what I have just said. Remember, when I say no comment, no follow-up. When I say no comment, no follow-up. The discussion on that subject is ended. Strange things happen. No, it was off. I found it in trash in my buddy's building. Somebody threw it out. It's fine make. The zipper is a little bit broken, but the snaps work, and, you know, when you're sleeping in the subway or somewhere, warmth's rather a premium.
It turned out that the morning filming at Penn Station was the last time we ever saw David. Having steadfastly refused medications for his paranoia, he parted company with Reach Out the next day. David is back where he was first found.
What's your name? Jim? Okay. I like your beard. It's very nice. Then, this is the one that I'm talking about for Wednesday. Okay, you're very much welcome to come. Now, on Thursday, we also have I wonder why we cannot deal with mental illness. What is so bad about it? What is so bad that people refuse to look at it, you know, and take care of the problem instead of ignore it, put it in a psychiatric ward where nobody can see it, or completely, you know, abandon them. But what keeps me going day by day is that after working with a client for 3 years and seeing that person coming into a van for the first time, it's so fulfilling that it's bigger than a candy in the hands of a child. You know, it's bigger than, I don't know, than you know, that the miracle that is when the spring comes, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that.
There are some moments of hope in the search for the cause and treatment of this terrible illness. But in the past, we have often, with the best of intentions, done more harm than good. There are now twice as many severely mentally ill people living on our streets as in all of our state mental hospitals. We are being tested to find solutions not just in our science, but in ourselves.
Santa Claus. Where? Santa Claus. Over there. Where? Over, across the street. I haven't seen him in so long. He's in so much shape. I can't believe he's still here. Okay, you have to put down now the videotape, please.
During the year since this program was first broadcast, Marge Murphy has shown remarkable improvement under treatment by a new drug. Mrs. Murphy reports that Marge's thinking is no longer seriously disordered. She now has a part-time job and is living in a halfway house on the hospital grounds. But last spring, David Taggart's condition began to deteriorate rapidly. When David became acutely suicidal, a friend tried to have him admitted at 2 different Manhattan hospitals, telling one doctor it was very significant that David, so frightened of hospitals, now wanted their help. But David was diagnosed as only mildly depressed and was refused admission. 3 weeks later, near Brooklyn Pier 67, a body was pulled from the East River. It was David Taggart.